Good afternoon. I call this Oversight hearing to order. Last Congress, we made historic bipartisan investments in long-standing unmet infrastructure needs for clean water, sanitation, and energy. We also made significant steps towards a clean energy future with investments in generation, grid resiliency, and electrification. We pushed nearly $500 million directly to Native communities for energy needs and made them eligible to apply for billions of dollars more. This down payment should begin to address the United States' history of actively exploiting Native energy resources for non-Native gain and willfully neglecting Native energy needs. This legacy of neglect needs to stop now. We need a course correction to support Native energy development, and it needs to start with the agencies that you represent. We've been funding the Tribal Energy Loan Guarantee Program for 6 years, and you've backed 0 projects. You needed direct lending, we gave you that. You needed more authority, we gave you $20 billion worth of authority. You needed 100% guarantees, we gave you that. You needed credit support, we gave you $75 million. Now I hear that you're turning away applications to have supplemental grant funding. I also hear that you're subjecting tribal governments to creditworthiness tests that they can't possibly meet. No more excuses. I want to know when these loans are going out. And it should go without saying that 6 years is too long. I also can't keep hearing from Native communities that they're being kept away from grant funding by poor outreach and coordination and consultation, with Native matters buried in 60-page RFIs, burdensome application requirements like concept papers, forced partnerships with outsiders, and shovel-ready project pre-approvals. And I just want to be very clear, none of this is in statutory law. We are not asking you to do this. We are asking you to push this money out to Native communities. That's what the federal law says. And I thought I was going to do a normal oversight hearing on how are we doing on tribal energy. And what we got back from Native communities is terrible. We're doing terrible. They are being treated like they're interlopers. They are being treated like they are not sovereign. And they are not being permitted to participate in the programs that the Congress has authorized and appropriated money for. And this is just for formula funding and set-asides like grid resilience funding. Tribes are having to work so hard to get the money that was designated for them that they have no bandwidth left to go after competitive funding that are also eligible. For competitive funds, I'm hearing that there is no Native outreach and consultation, even for programs like battery recycling and manufacturing where the statute prioritizes tribal partnerships. No TA on applications, more square peg round hole requirements like community benefit plans for Native projects that by definition benefit the Native communities. Requiring online, and this was the one that got my attention in the first instance. Now granted, it got fixed. Tribes without internet had to apply for broadband using the internet. And it sort of makes you chuckle, and I do want to point out it was fixed. But the idea that there's a federal law and it makes tribes eligible, and then they've got to apply online even though they don't have internet connectivity, and then they have to come to us to do our oversight to troubleshoot. Those of you who know me know I have perhaps an unearned reputation as being relatively even-keeled, but I am mad. This is preposterous. I don't come here and berate people, but I'm left with no choice because we passed laws, we passed appropriations bills, and the Native communities that are coming to us are saying, I don't know how to apply. They have requirements that are not statutory, that are just process and procedure or custom. And so this has to get fixed. I understand that a lot of this is the legacy of how some of these programs have been structured over many, many years, and that many of your offices, at least at Energy, are not accustomed to working with Native communities and their unique structures and needs. But everything has changed in the last 2 years, and we all have to adapt. Native communities cannot be left out, and I expect your agencies to actively support Native energy development and not just solve a problem when it's brought to the committee's attention and then we bring it to your attention. It's been more than 7 months since we passed the Inflation Reduction Act and nearly a year and a half since we passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill. It is time to implement. I'll now turn to the Vice Chair for her opening statement.